When I tell you hashtag no PlayStation 6, you think I'm playing with you? Why the hell would they go make a costly console? They can't even sell a Pro. Why the hell would they go make a console? I see you dudes running around talking about Magnus, this, and AMD, and all this. That's Xbox stuff. Stop associating them broke dudes with software. Amethyst is software. They're making software. Machine learning software. Microsoft and AMD is making hardware. Stop trying to associate yourself with something greater than yourself. You've been doing this for a long time. Now we find out that the emperor has no clothes on. Been watching you for a second. I've been telling dudes for a second. Xbox version is coming, man. Be easy. Xbox version is coming. Be easy. Microsoft has their version. Be easy. Be easy.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today we're going to go over your next dose of the salty batch files. Yes, we got some more delusion. Yes, we have some more hot takes. Yes, we have some more weird accusations, some weird predictions and stuff like that from a particular fan base as usual. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I said, what we're going to do is get right to it here. Of course, as referring to the opening video and stuff like that, it is interesting. I know I had a week ago in the Salty Batch Files engrossing what folks thought, or at least the Xbox fanboys thought they were stock experts, and they understood how the economy works, they understood how Sony as a business was working, and that they're in deep trouble. So we're going to go over some of those examples further here in regards to what they feel and think, but first off, I want to start off with a post from Paris from a few weeks ago. And this is just to kind of highlight something I wanted to bring up real quick because I think it's a good touching point here. And I feel like we have to adhere to what Xbox is doing sometimes. And I don't necessarily agree with that. So here, Paris is stating, right? The era of exclusivity will be studied by the future generations and they'll probably laugh at us. So here's the thing, right? I've had multiple videos where I've gave my point of view, my case study, so to speak, of why exclusives matter. I still firmly believe that exclusives matter to this day, to this moment, for as long as it possibly can into the future, because it does. That competition is needed. The quality exudes itself once those are created and so on and so forth. So I think exclusivity and exclusives have always been important from day one across any platform, not just PlayStation and Xbox, but Nintendo to, Atari to, Sega, obviously, and so on and so forth. I mean, even the Ouya had exclusives and some great indie exclusives, and it made the Ouya appealing to some. So, I mean, New World, right? That was exclusive to PC, and, same with World of Warcraft and such like that. But anyways, exclusives matter. So I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of highlight this. I find it interesting because I feel like we have to adhere to many different things. And one of those things being Microsoft changed how they view exclusivity at this point because they had to. They had to pivot. And because they had to pivot, now everybody else has to. I still find, and we still see, that Nintendo is doing a great job with exclusives in their niche market as well. I don't think exclusives are outdated. I don't think they're bad. And I know people are going to go to bat for that and think they are. I understand as a pro-consumer move in a way that playing your game anywhere is a good method to do so. But there are a lot of pros that I feel outweigh the cons, but I just wanted to bring that up. Not a slight towards this whatsoever, but I feel like sometimes people want to own in on the fact that Xbox has moved on in a different direction, so should everybody else. I don't agree. Just wanted to share that there, though. But as we continue on here, can we show this post here? Can we share this post here? Do we have a hive mind type of situation here? How similar people are making this out to be? As you can see here from JP, the ED aficionado here. So the PS5 generation haven't been profitable profitable for Sony, which is incorrect, as we've seen at the beginning video and what I posted at the end of that. King David, but it's the most successful generation. It is. It is the most successful generation in a way. It's soon to be surpassing the PSP. It's going to surpass the Xbox 360, so on and so forth. But as we continue, direct gaming, to all you foolish lames, you're still yapping about PlayStation sells. The brand itself has not been profitable. You all, as a donkey collective, have failed with your weak, ignorant narratives, myths, and theories. Sony failure is that it believed in you all. PS5 makes no money, with a bunch of laughing emojis. Again, incorrect. But you see the hive mind, right? It just continues with Xbox Series X. I'll leave it up here for a moment. You guys can continue to read. As you continue to read those, you're probably losing brain cells, so proceed with caution there. But it's just, really hive mind. They just latch onto something, right? Xbox lost the console war. Xbox had to pivot. Xbox no longer has exclusives. Those games are going to other platforms like PlayStation, their direct competitor. There are no red lines. This is why you're seeing this narrative of it's not profitable for Sony or PlayStation. This is absolutely incorrect, 110% incorrect, and just filled with lies, guys. This is just filled with lies. But, hit a pause if you need to finish reading some of that stuff, because there's some good stuff in there. But let's just real quick, I want to share that graph again one more time, like we did in the beginning here. You can hit pause on this as well if you want to just kind of look at this. This is an actual graph. This is legit. And it does show that PS5 is profitable and the most profitable generation so far. So if Xbox is losing, they want PlayStation to fail and lose as well in a lot of areas. Now, PlayStation's doing more than well, right? As we can see, Xbox is going to do just fine as a third-party publisher. That's okay. They had to pivot. It's okay. It's okay if you want to stay with Xbox and play on Xbox. It's 100% okay. These segments are to call out the delusional morons like we just seen in the previous multiple post right there, right? The hive mind collective trying to push a false narrative. This is why we're here. People want to get so angry and upset that we're just stating the truth here. Calling out the delusion, calling out the lies. That's all we're doing here. But it is crazy. They're salty that Xbox went in that direction. If they could have their exclusives back in a heartbeat, they would be right pushing that narrative as well. But as we continue here, we got some more, right? Nico, you're back on here again. He states, Xbox is utterly dominating PlayStation's storefront. Xbox is the biggest sales force on Sony's own ecosystem. 1, it's no longer a console war. 2, it's a content war. Hashtag change of tides. He's using data from, of course, good old Jez Corden, who I don't think the guy's had a good couple years in regards to giving out information and his opinions personally, and we've showed that over and over again. But again, going off the new data shows Xbox is utterly dominating PlayStation storefront, accounting for 60% of the quarter 2 top 10 game sales spots, etc., etc. Feel free to read the rest of that article post right there. However, let's take a quick break here. Again, we're pushing a false narrative. In a way, he's right. There is no longer a console war because Xbox lost. That doesn't mean that PlayStation has lost too, or lost their way, or whatever the case is. Regardless, if they end up, and I'm not saying they will, if they do end up putting their single player games on competing platforms, it's going to be a trial by trial by trial. If it happens, it's because Xbox has bowed out. They're a third-party publisher. So when we're talking about it's a content war, there is no content war. Again, how many times do I have to state this? There's no content war. Nobody is cheerleading EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, Rockstar to be these great focal points for how much money they're intake, how much money they're making, what the profit is outside of the revenue. We're not seeing that. There is no content war. You know how boring a content war is? Do I see any other channels making content war between Disney and Netflix and Hulu? Obviously, Disney and Hulu now conjoining. HBO, Cinemax, Starz, Peacock, Apple TV. I may not have been seeing these. So if there are content creators out there actually doing content wars, please let me know. or maybe not, but please let me know just so I have some context here, because to my knowledge, there's no content wars. People will consume what they want whenever a product is somewhere else. There's no content wars. The console wars was the only war that there was. It's over. It's done. Xbox is a third-party publisher at this point in time. It doesn't matter what kind of hardware they're putting out at this point in time. It's done. We went over this in the last videos, right? Kind of crazy. Again, that false narrative. That's what they want you to believe. We want PlayStation to succumb down to what Xbox has become. That's the only way they're going to feel good about the direction of Xbox. You know, they still haven't accepted the full circle of grief, anger, all that stuff. They keep recycling that circle, right? They keep recycling that. It's really odd. But as we continue here, now we have Colt back at it again, right? Can't have Colt eats wood. You can fund 25 new AAA games per year with that revenue. He's talking about good old J-Rock, this guy who doesn't even game really, who spouts lies on a daily basis. Gotta quote each other because that's how they roll. Game Pass is a $5 billion service. God please bless me with that sort of unsustainability, with a laughing crying emoji. What are we doing here? We've already kind of touched base on this a little bit in the last, video last week, right? In regards to stock experts, revenue, profitability, et cetera. Again, we're taking something that they don't understand, profit versus revenue. Just because it's a $5 billion service, that doesn't account for everything. You're not working under that umbrella. You're not working side by side with Satya and Nadella. You're not working side by side with Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, whoever might be in that circle that knows a little bit more, whoever that may be. You don't know. You are just a content creator. Just like I'm not going to sit there and tell you guys how much PlayStation is for sure profiting on a whim. Or Nintendo's profiting on a whim and over whatever I can kind of pull for data. I'm not going to do that because I'd be full of crap, like these guys are. That is not enough to fund 25 new AAA games per year with that revenue. If that was the case, they wouldn't have bowed out of the console wars. Do we see how that works? Do you see how they continue to push that narrative and those lies? Again, they just know things and they want to hype up that base. You have so many casual followers that will never, ever leave these guys. We'll use them for content, for information, and they think they're right because they listen to these guys like that. And they're wrong. And they're made to look foolish. I mean, that's on them. But ultimately, they do it to themselves. But, we try to curb that, right? We try to educate. And there's nothing wrong with that. If they were super profitable and it was truly sustainable and they didn't have to bounce out of console war, more power to them. I said multiple times, there was chances for them to make this course correct, make Game Pass a thing, but you cannot do day and date games. You have to change this. You have to change that. And that's all fine and dandy. If they did that, if they succeeded, then great. Good job. But stop lying, because that is not the case. That is not what went down. That's not what happened. This is why they're now a full-on third-party publisher. Jeez. But to sit there and quote each other, they just, that echo chamber just going off all the time. It's so weird. So weird to me. As we continue to go on, I just wanted to share something here from Juan Marico Fuentes here. He just put up a good post here, I think, overall. I think this is a good post here. Hashtag Game Pass, it's so harmful because it's cheapening the work of the developers, retailers, and everybody involved working in this hobby. Everybody has the right to live from their work and profession, but the Xbots and PC, hashtag PC pigs, which I don't care for that term, love to exploit the other work, right? The work of others. The Xbots using Game Pass and the PC folks pirating the games or using codes from sites like Aneva, I don't know how that's pronounced, but paying cents for the hard work of the studios. And that, I just wanted to share that because it just kind of touches base what I've been saying multiple times. I feel like Xbox has harmed the industry overall more than helped it out, right? In theory, yes, you get to play everywhere. In theory, it's pro-consumer, and parts of it is. But in a way, it's harmed the industry because I don't like subscription services, what they've done to the industry for some indie devs and for indie games. It has helped out, absolutely. For AAA, I don't think it really has helped out. It's going to be a case-by-case scenario. And again, it ended up making them not competitors for PlayStation. So again, now we have PlayStation kind of working on a whim. It is a high possibility they can throw their games however, whenever, wherever, because they don't feel they have that competition. Nintendo's doing its own thing. Right? I mean, overall, Microsoft has harmed the industry as a whole. They've done some good things along the way, absolutely. They had their peak, absolutely. Xbox Live, when it was first done, absolutely amazing. The OG Xbox I thought was great. You had the hard drive, you could burn CDs to it, play your games, run your music in the background if you wanted. That was unprecedented at the time because that was, administered mainly to PC rigs only. So if you didn't have a PC rig, you had something kind of similar because Microsoft is part of a PC space, right? So they had some good things, but overall, as the years went on and on and on, they've done nothing but harm it as a whole. I feel. I don't know where the quality went to. Bad management, this, that, and the other. But I just wanted to share that because, it touches base on that. And then there's a lot of pirating on the PC side of things, right? And people are going to act like, no, we buy, and they do buy at times, right? But there's a lot of pirating and a lot of other issues going on over there as well. Most of the time, you're getting online games, a lot of cheaters. They're exploitive, and, there's just a bigger chunk of numbers for cheating on PC. I'm always turning off crossplay if at all possible because I don't want that. I'm not saying, again, there's not cheaters on consoles because there are, but it's just harder to do typically. And you're going to see less of that because it's more of a casual base, right? That are playing on consoles as well. So just a lot of different things. Just wanted to share that. But let's move on here. A couple different things here. Now, Klutz. Been a minute since we featured Klute again. I try not to because just ignorant, right? So he quotes at Nate the Hate, thoughts about the current rumors from Sony porting more games to more platforms. Any information on which Sony games will come to Xbox next? And Nate the Hate, who, if you don't know, is a little bit of an insider. Yes, he gets things wrong. Yes, sometimes he gets things right. Grain of salt. He states, I can't imagine it'll be anything beyond live service games like we are seeing with Helldivers 2 and Marathon. Sony seems content with licensing unused IP, Patapon, Everybody's Golf to publishers otherwise, right? And we've seen that. As of today, a little sneak peek of or what might come before this video. There are talks that there is a rumor going around that Returnal might head over to Xbox for whatever reason. I do find that odd if that was to be the case. It didn't sell extremely well on PlayStation. I don't see it selling extremely well on Xbox, and supposedly there's some sort of talks in between there that Sony wants more of a chunk if it did come over, more than a 70-30 split, plus, Xbox would have to pay for advertisements and on and on and on. But I just don't see that being a thing. I just don't see why that would be a thing. But if it does, it does. But I'm not saying it will or won't in one way or the other. Grain of salt. That was the latest rumor. Just thought I'd mention it in this video if there's not a video coming before this to kind of talk about that if I get more information about that. But as we continue here, and then of course Jez latching on, Nate confirms the whole slate. So again, later on he tries to rebuttal that, and you shouldn't online because a lot of people take this with more than a grain of salt. They treat it as gospel, right? You're taking this information and then you twist it and then you're having fun with it. And I think he was pretty hopeful that it was confirming the whole slate or he'd get something out of Nate. But he ends up later on stating that, of course, I was just poking fun. Everybody should know that was satire. Stop, dude. You have a large following. We've gone over this multiple times before. You have a large following. And you saying this does not help the fan base. Again, all these lies, all this delusion, all this stuff has continually hurt the Xbox fan base, has hurt the ecosystem, has hurt the brand, has hurt everything in regards to Xbox because you have people stating stuff like this because of all the folks that we did feature with JP and after, right? You can't do that. You're creating this false hype and narrative that hurts the brand. Do we not understand that that hurts the brand? You like the brand so much, you want it to succeed, you want it to do more, want it to do better. You're not going to get that with lies and delusion. You're just not. So that being said, we will wrap up the video right now. Lots of good little tidbits here and there from that. So I think that's going to encompass what we have right now. But I do appreciate everybody sticking around for the entirety of the video. I really appreciate your support as usual. Every like, comment down below helps out the algorithm. Would love to hear from you. Love to interact with y'all. I read through as much as I possibly can. So thank you all so much. And of course, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. Working our way towards that 4,000 sub goal. If we want more of the truth, call out, stuff like that, stick around for this channel. That's what we're here for. And of course, at the end of the day, just always remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault gaming video. And until then, take care.